Hey, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing blue torties. I saw these nails on Instagram and I was totally blown away, so I had to recreate them. So I'm starting out the same way I start out all of my videos. I'm cleansing my nails with a nail cleansing solution that I make. It's made of mostly rubbing alcohol and some acetone. And then I'm using a nail dehydrator, which is basically just alcohol, to prep the nail. And I do have luminary gel on underneath there, which you can learn a little bit more about in a recent video that I did. So now I am taking the Izemi base gel and I'm going to put a layer of base coat on. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the person who originally did this nail set. J Money Nails. To be honest, I actually don't know if she is the first person to do these, but she's the first person that I saw. And I just thought these were absolutely gorgeous. So all of her work is excellent. I'll link her in the description. So to start, mine are going to be a little bit more of less of an aqua and more of a blue. And this is partly based on what I had available, but also it was kind of a mistake. I meant to use a different polish from the Fiote Waterful collection, but I just spaced out and used a slightly bluer one. But you'll see that at the end, I end up adding a layer of the more aqua polish that I have. And if anything, this just goes to show that you can do this with any color. I would love to see this with other jelly colors. And yeah, you will have seen that I put down some of the blue jelly polish. And then because I had used this Fiote polish before and I knew that it would be a little bit too opaque, it's a jelly color for sure, but because you're going to be doing layers of the jelly color, you want to make sure you're not getting too much color in the first coat or in any of the coats, because you're going to be building it up and you want to be able to clearly see the different layers of the black polish. So I added a little bit of a top coat, also from Izemi, to the blue color, just to water it down a little bit. And this is sort of trial and error. It really ended up being just a very small amount of top coat. I did experiment before this with equal parts top coat and the jelly color, and definitely that was too translucent. So you'll want to do a little bit of testing on yourself, but just know that even though it's a jelly color, you can always make it more jelly by adding a little bit of a clear gel to it. So I'm starting out by just putting a thin layer of this jelly polish on, and then I'll go in and cure it. And you'll see that when I'm cleaning up around the edges, I've said this before, but this is just the surface cleanser that I was using before and a little flat brush that I'm using to make sure I'm getting any extra gel off. So it might be tempting to do just a short cure, but I would do a full cure after every coat, just so you know. So I'm taking a jelly black polish. This one's also from Fiote, from that same collection. And I also experimented with adding a little bit of clear gel to this to see whether that made sense. But I ultimately decided to just use the jelly black polish to make kind of lighter, sort of organic shaped dots. Kind of like you would see in a lot of different types of animal print. They're not perfect circles, they're not perfect ovals, they're not all uniform, which makes this a really user-friendly or beginner-friendly nail design, because it shouldn't be perfect. So I think that's really fun and helpful. I do think this is super easy. And ultimately, you could really just have kind of 4 products: your base coat, your top coat, a black gel, and a colored gel. You could make it blue, you could make it a different color. It doesn't even have to be jelly. You could use your base or top coat to make the polished jelly. And then in terms of the black, I did have jelly black and an opaque black, but you could also create a jelly black by just adding clear gel to the opaque black that you have, which you'll be using later, which I use later. So yeah, it's pretty accessible, I would say, for people who don't have a ton of different polish colors. But yeah, you'll see there that I've gone in and made sort of organic dots with a jelly black. And I think I speed up through the rest of these nails. But you'll see that I'm doing the same thing on the rest of the nails. And I've said this before, but if you end up not liking kind of the way you've laid things out, you can absolutely take the surface cleanser on that flat brush and just wipe off a portion of it. It's interesting. I did base this off of that Instagram that I mentioned, J Money. I based it off of her design, but she had some sort of snafu where her Instagram was taken down for a second. And that was while I was filming this. So I didn't actually have it as reference. So I was kind of trying to remember, how dense the spots were, and kind of just recreating it from memory instead of looking at a picture, which, is fine. I've done torties before, but I just absolutely thought the ones she did were stunning. And I think it's partly because the jelly was so clear, and the color of the jelly was gorgeous, which I don't replicate here, but this jelly is also gorgeous. And you'll see there, you just see it for a second, but I had actually a few days before done a little tester nail to see if I could replicate. And I did it with the color that I had initially wanted to use, which is a more aqua color by Fiote. And it's funny that I didn't notice that I was using a different color. Like when I look at it now, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, I think if I had been looking at J Money's picture, I would have probably noticed that the blue I was using was not the one that I had intended to. So I'm taking, after doing a full cure of those lighter black spots, I'm taking a coat of that jelly polish and sort of embedding the lighter black spots in to another layer of jelly. I believe this is called a jelly sandwich. I don't know if that's exactly what I'm doing here, but I've heard people use the phrase jelly sandwich, which is adorable, to describe like using a jelly on the bottom and then putting something in between and then adding a jelly on top. So yeah, nice little jelly sandwich here. And of course, similar to another tutorial I've done, if you end up feeling like you want the blue to be a little bit deeper or less translucent, you could absolutely go in with a couple more layers of this blue, at the end if you decide, I think I want more blue. So it's very flexible in that way. So yeah, just adding one coat, and then again, I'll go in and do a full cure. And I think I mentioned this recently, but it's really important that you're curing your polish fully. I know there's been a lot of talk about gel allergies recently. I think because more people are doing their nails at home, more people are experiencing gel allergies because they don't have the same education as nail techs do. And, there's more kind of one-off products popping up out there. But I would rather use really thin layers, several really thin layers that actually fully cure than glob a bunch on and be unsure whether the middle is cured. So now I'm going in with this painting gel. It's an opaque black. You could use just a regular black polish. It doesn't have to specifically be a painting gel, but painting gels definitely help. This one is by D-Gel, and you will have seen it in my recent Black Friday haul. And I think the trick with this is to sort of overlap the opaque black spots over the lighter black spots. I think that makes it look most natural and kind of gives the coolest layered effect. To not have it directly over, but sort of overlapping in different spots. But, you know, you can always look at tortoiseshell pictures or just play around with how you like it, how dense you like, how much negative space you like to have with the blue, how many dots you like to have, whether you like a little bit pared down or what. So obviously feel free to play around with that. I don't know what it is about this. I just find it so stunning. It's so simple too. It's very easy to do. And it requires so few products, but to me it has just such a huge impact. And yeah, making sure that the shape is organic. I will say, like, I think I did make a few dots that had kind of sharp, pointier edges, and I found that I wanted to go back and round out the edges. So I think that that's kind of the key in some ways to getting these to look a little bit natural, is to have more rounded edges on the dots. And yeah. But yes, like I was saying earlier, I actually, after watching a nail hub video, I did where the nail tech that runs that channel, where that person cured a bunch of different polishes and different lamps at different times to see whether they actually cured. And it's kind of wild to see that sometimes you can have a product that looks cured on the outside but actually has uncured gel in the middle. So better safe than sorry. I have been working in really thin coats to just make sure that whatever I'm putting on my nails actually cures. I'd rather take the time to do 2 layers than to have polish that looks cured but isn't, because that's, from what I understand, what can cause allergies to gel. So yeah, I'm finishing up over here. And after this, you'll see that I put a little dab of the color I had actually intended to use over there, next to the big blob of the blue that I actually used. So after this full cure, you'll see I go in without really cleaning my brush because there's no real need to, but I go in with that more aqua blue, and I do a layer of that over what I've already done, just to add, I don't know, you can't really see much of an impact, I think, or much of a change, but when I remembered, to be honest, I was a little bit bummed because I just thought that more aqua color was so beautiful, but I also really like this blue, so it's fine. But yeah, I decided to put a little bit of that aqua on because these jellies are meant to be layerable. They're meant to sit over top of each other and create like different shades. That's kind of the whole purpose of the collection, is to have a bunch of jellies that are translucent enough that they kind of, the shades meld together if you layer them in different coats, or, you know, potentially you could just layer them while they're wet and uncured. So yeah, I don't know if it made a difference. You can tell me if you see a difference before and after using that teal one. So yeah, now I am putting on a top coat. Same old here. It's the Izemi one. I used the thick top coat so that this will be like a little bit bumpy, not anything major, but you know, because you have different levels of polish on your nail. If you have a thicker top coat, I would use something that has a little bit of a thicker viscosity over something that's really thin. You could also go in with another layer of your top coat too. That's totally fine. And yeah, this is it. I really would love to know what you think of this. Am I the only one who finds this just like breathtaking? I don't know what it is about this manicure, but I just find it so beautiful. Here it is in natural light. This is on my porch. They're doing construction, so there's some stuff in the background. But yeah, I loved this manicure. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out again to J Money. Her work is incredible. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the future. Thanks so much.